So here's the latest on jellyfish.
1, 2, 3, 4!
So I have 3 short stories to tell you. The first 2 involve sales of jellyfish systems. The last one involves a customer financing me to learn more about sea nettles. So the first sale is a dentist in Louisiana. This dentist contacted me probably 6 months back, indicated that he was building a new building to house his dental office, and he wanted to put a jellyfish tank in, and he was very interested in the color-changing LED lights. Well, the color-changing LED lights are pretty cool, and they really do illuminate the jellyfish quite well. But the guy I was getting the LEDs from here locally isn't going to do it anymore. He got into it simply to see if there was a potential business opportunity there for him, and it didn't work out on his part. So having kind of decided I wanted to do the LED lights, I needed to pick that ball up and run with it myself. Unfortunately, that supplier is in China, which means that I have to import the stuff. Interesting sidebar here, it's kind of the first time I've had the shoe put on the other foot, and what I mean by that is through myfishtank.com as well as Midwater Systems, both of my businesses, I have had customers outside the U.S. prepay their orders so that I would be able to fill them. I'm not going to take a partial payment or wait until it ships to bill you. And the point is that there has to be a trust bond there that occurs between you and the customer. And in my case, they have to trust me. I'm obviously a trustworthy fellow, but they may not know that. And some of these orders can be expensive, upwards of $10,000 or more. Well, in this particular case, I now have to trust in a vendor outside the U.S. I have to admit I'm not real comfortable with that, but the point is the shoe's on the other foot, and I get to kind of taste that experience, so I get a better feeling for it. Maybe I can do something after the customer sent the money to help relieve some of that concern on their part. But anyhow, there is this dentist in Louisiana who's interested in placing an order and wants the LED lights. Well, that precipitates the fact that I now have to find a supplier. So I went through the due diligence, contacted my friend's supplier. I guess he wasn't impressed with the fact that I was just placing an initial order, technically a minimum order. I don't know what I'm getting into, so I'm going to invest the least I have to on the first time around. Well, I guess that vendor wasn't impressed, and beyond the initial sales email, never responded to any of my questions. So I, being one who receives a lot of emails from China for aquarium equipment, I eventually came across another vendor which I had to strike up a relationship myself with, and the kind of skipping ahead, there is a language issue or a language barrier here. I'm sure they have something like Google Translator at their end, but how it translates may not have the same meaning that I intended to, or something like that. So there was a definite language barrier, but we did get to the point where we were able to identify the components that I needed, that he had, that would work for my color-changing LED lights for the Jelly Aquarium. And I remember one of the questions that I asked him after assembling all these items was, is this a complete package? Is this all I need? And his answer was yes. So with a little bit of encouragement from this doctor in Louisiana, and having put down no money at this point on his part, he encouraged me to order these lights. So I invested the money and I placed that order with China. it kind of went smooth with importing the stuff. There were two bumps in the road. One was where he had me send the money. I don't know what his arrangements were at his end, but it did take them 3.5 weeks to confirm they did receive the money, when my bank knew the following day that they had sent it and it had been received. So there was some issue there. The end result issue was when I received those LED components, it didn't arrive with any of the power cords that I needed, and the transformers that I'd asked for with 7-foot leads on only arrived with 4-foot leads. So I can make this stuff work, but the point is, there's again a language or communications issue there. Now, as a good vendor myself, Midwater Systems, selling the Jelly Aquarium, I've done what my customers requested. Keep in mind, customers put up no money yet. So this tank sale to the dentist is going to be what we call an in-wall version. They'll finish the wall in a manner that my equipment will go into the wall, and there'll be some sort of a facade over the face of it that allows that porthole view into the jellyfish tank. So being a brand new building, the contractor or carpenters, as well as the architect, all want to know what's involved. And as with any potential sale, I will give these people my drawings and sketches, which are used for my cabinet version. But if you construct the wall in the same way as I have drawn out the cabinet, then my components will fit in there. So I think I spoke to all three, the contractor, the carpenter, as well as the architect, and these guys just couldn't seem to really grasp the concept, which, for as smart as they may be in constructing a building, they may not know anything about how to build an aquarium into the wall. And this wouldn't be the first time. So anyhow, I fax information, email information back and forth. I finally get to the point where I think they understand, but I don't hear anything from them again. So being the good little salesperson, I'm attempting to accommodate the customer to encourage this sale. I've not only brought in the LED lights, I've also made contact with his construction company. Now comes the question, who's actually going to install the system or the tank into the wall, and who's going to maintain it? Well, years ago I worked for a company where I oversaw a network of aquarium service people, and part of that job obviously was finding and filling the niches in the service schedule with local service people. So I know how to do this. So I contact the local tropical fish stores. There's 2 of them in this town, and I usually will ask if they do aquarium maintenance or aquarium service, if that involves salt water. I ask to speak to the service person or the store owner, maybe the store manager. Again, I'm trying to find someone locally who can aid in setting up the tank and servicing the tank. And my idea is that I would assume that they would be interested in expanding their knowledge base as far as their ability to service exotic aquariums. Jellyfish certainly is exotic. So I call the first store. The service person's not in. I ask for the store owner's not in. I speak to the person there, and he indicates he'll have the service person call me back. So I think the following day no one called, but I called the store again, and I finally did get a hold of the service person. Now his name is Bucky. Bucky does do aquarium service, and he does take care of saltwater tanks, and I asked him if he was interested in learning a little bit about jellyfish, if he was interested in installing a jellyfish tank, if he was interested in maintaining a jellyfish tank, and the answer was yes. And that in turn precipitated me sending some literature, some pictures. I do use some of the LA Fishguys videos as instructional videos for some of the service people, and I sent all that information. The following week I did follow up. Bucky was not in, but I did get a chance to speak to the store owner, who indicated that she had not received that information yet, and I should send it back out again. Okay, no problem, no problem. So I resent it. 2 weeks goes by now, and I'm thinking I should follow up with this service company to answer any of their questions. And here's the one mistake that I did make, and that is this potential customer for the Jelly Aquarium asked who the service person was. or service company, and I gave them that name and gave them that telephone number, but I had yet myself to be able to speak to the service person to try to answer any of his questions. So a few more days go by, and then all of a sudden I get a telephone call from this doctor in Louisiana who seems to be quite concerned about how easy or how difficult jellyfish are, the fact that she's going to end up having to replace a whole bunch of them, and how long are they going to live. And she said she had a conversation with Bucky, and he indicated that they were not easy to keep, and that she would go through a whole bunch of them before they kind of got it fine-tuned. And I thought to myself, what the hell did Bucky tell her that panicked her so much? And without me even contacting Bucky to answer any of his initial questions, why would he take it upon himself to portray such a negative aspect of jellyfish?
Tropical Fish Hobbyist magazine has been the authoritative source for aquarium keepers since the first legendary issue rolled off the presses in 1952. With informative articles month after month about the fascinating world of freshwater aquariums, saltwater setups, paludariums, ponds, and more, illustrated in crisp detail by the world's top aquatic photographers, TFH covers it all. And now, with subscriptions starting at $13.95 and a mobile digital edition you can take with you wherever you go, TFH is your ultimate resource for all things aquatic. When in Los Angeles, make it a point to stop in Long Beach, California at Age of Aquariums, 2642 Cherry Avenue, just off the 405 freeway near Signal Hill. At Age of Aquariums, their knowledgeable staff showcases designer aquariums featuring colorful corals and exotic fish, a spectacular four-sided 500-gallon living coral reef, along with a wide selection of coral frags and a large selection of saltwater fish, the cute, the graceful, and the not-so-cute. Age of Aquariums also carries a selection of popular freshwater fish for the beginning hobbyist. Along with a full line of aquarium supplies and supplements, Age of Aquariums quarantines and medicates all their new fish and proudly provides LA and Orange County's largest aquarium maintenance service. Age of Aquarium is located at 2642 Cherry Avenue, just off the 405 freeway near Signal Hill. Open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday and 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays. For more information, dial 562-438-6252 or visit ageofaquariums.biz. Are you ready for the Marine Aquarium Expo this coming March 31st through April 1st of 2012? This is the largest aquarium consumer trade show in North America and a destination spot for marine hobbyists. Held at the newly remodeled OC Fair and Event Center and featuring over 100 exhibitors, speakers, demonstrations, and a huge product raffle. There's even a fin zone for entertaining young hobbyists. That's the Marine Aquarium Expo at the Orange County Fairgrounds this coming March 31st through April 1st, 2012, Saturday 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., Sunday 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Adults $15, senior and military only $10, kids under 12 are free. For more information, visit marineaquariumexpo.com.
So the customer says to me on the phone that he's a little uncomfortable with the idea now, and not only is his partner not really supporting him, but at the same time the construction company didn't seem to feel real comfortable with the installation as well. So I'm thinking to myself, your partner isn't on your side, your construction company isn't behind you, and the local service person just sabotaged the sale. I don't think you're going to end up being successful at all. Because if you have no support behind you and you haven't done enough research and kind of believe that this is as easy as a goldfish tank, I think you're going to be sadly disappointed. And the customer said that they would think about it and then would get back to me. Well, I immediately got on the phone and called to that shop there in town to speak to Bucky and find out what exactly did he say to this customer that seems to have scared off the customer, as well as causing the potential loss of a $5,000 sale. So I called the store owner answered, and I asked for Bucky. She asked who was calling, and I said Jim with Midwater Systems, and her response was, well, he's putting fish away right now. Could she take a message? And of course at that point I said, well, is this the store owner? And she said yes, and I went on to say, what happened, or what did your service person say to my customer, because they're on the verge of backing out of the sale. And I said, it's a $5,000 sale. Well, she somehow seemed to sense my irritation, and basically indicated that she was not aware of him having any conversation or what that conversation entailed, and she'd be more than happy to take a telephone number and leave a message for him, and he would call me back when he was done putting fish away. Well, it's been 4 days and I haven't heard from Bucky yet. So I have to assume that either he fully realizes that he made a mistake and he's now embarrassed, or he sabotaged the sale purposely to try to get the sale himself on a regular fish-only system, that he could sell the equipment and everything, not just do the maintenance, but that he could make the big sale. And of course, the next day, I get an email from the potential customer that says, thanks, but no thanks. So they backed out of the sale. So in review, this customer has indicated they're going to place an order, has encouraged me to invest money and time in ordering supplies for the product, has had me work with their local construction people and even find them a local aquarium service person, and at the last minute basically got cold feet and backed out. Now, I don't have a problem if you realize that you're kind of over your head, or maybe you just didn't do your homework in the beginning and you've gotten yourself into something that you don't feel good or comfortable about doing. Maybe you realize that your partner doesn't stand behind you and that your construction people aren't real thrilled about what you're trying to do, and the local aquarium service person is either pointing you a different direction or giving you the impression that he just doesn't know what he's doing. So I can understand all of that. The part that does upset me, though, is that as a salesperson, I've done all these things anticipating or expecting that these are the things a salesperson does to ensure the sale. You've given me every reason to assume that there's going to be a sale here. So I responded to the email, and I responded with two things. One, I basically said, well, I can certainly understand the lack of support from the partner, from the construction company, and from the local service person. I also kind of made a notation there that I had tried to contact that service person and he had not returned the call, and I kind of said chances are he understands he sabotaged the sale. But regardless of all of that, as a salesperson, those were the things that I needed to do, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sales is always a gamble. You can be smart and you can be dumb, but it's always a gamble. The second thing I said was, I don't mind doing all of those things, but what I do mind was investing my own money based on your encouragement for product that now I have absolutely no reason to use. Granted, I'd like to have it here for future sales, but I did bring this in specifically for you. So I said, if you'd like to clear your conscience or walk away from this with a clear conscience, I've attached an invoice for that LED color changing light system, and upon your payment or receipt of your payment, I'll send that to you. I did get a reply the following day that kind of said, okay, no problem. Now, whether that's just more BS or someone actually realizing that they had misled someone else, and maybe they felt enough inside themselves to compensate that person. So we'll see if that check actually does show up. So I'm not thrilled about losing a $5,000 sale, and I'm even a little more frustrated with the lack of integrity in this particular service company, but it is tough times, and maybe they felt they needed to do what they needed to do, or maybe they're just simply embarrassed from what they did end up doing. I think the lesson for me learned out of this is there has to be a cutoff point where you do what you have to do to get the sale, but at the same time, if it requires you to do more than just a sales legwork where you're actually investing money, I think the customer does need to put up some type of a down payment or something like that. The flip side of it all is there's another sale that we did get, and it basically came as a result of the website. And not only is it a good sale, but it's a resale to a very large store in Chicago, Illinois. And they've ordered one of the cabinet Jellyquarium systems. So I'm going to have my cabinet guys start making the cabinet. I've got the refrigeration unit here. I ordered the tank to be manufactured by the tank manufacturer the other day, and I've got to run to the hardware store to get all the various fittings. So I'll begin to assemble all of that, and you'll be able to tag along, if not when I go to pick up the cabinet, certainly when we deliver all the stuff to the crating company to ship out to that retail store. So there is a positive thing there as well. So the third story involves an existing aquarium service customer who has a jellyfish tank of mine that's actually doing quite well. You saw it in one of the previous episodes when we went to service it. It's actually doing well enough that he wants to explore beyond just moon jellyfish. He'd like to try sea nettles. Those are the ones with the long dangling tentacles, the ribbon and lace, the ones that are dangerous. They involve stinging. That's been one of the big advantages of moon jellyfish, is that they don't really have any, if much, of a sting. But I've heard sea nettles really do have quite the sting. So I indicated to him that I would lend him one of my demo cabinets if he wanted, and we could set up a second tank and experiment with sea nettles. He said, well, why don't you go ahead and order them and set the tank up at your place, and if they work out, then you can bring them over here. So here's an opportunity where basically the customer is going to finance my education and our fun with sea nettles. So I sent the wholesaler here in LA an email and asked what the availability and what species and what the cost was for sea nettles. And he's indicated that he does receive them. These are from the same place as we got those moon jellyfish a number of episodes ago for Spencer, and those Japanese jellies didn't do that well, and I vowed never to order from that vendor or broker again. But when it kind of comes down to that's the only source, and you have an opportunity for your customer to finance your education, I guess I'm willing to experiment. So we're going to end up placing an order for 4 or 6 of those sea nettles. We'll set up one of our demo systems, probably that big black 48-inch that you've seen before. We'll set that up in the garage, and we'll bring in some sea nettles and try not to get stung, and at the same time try to learn something. So make it a point to come on back for the next part, so you can see if we did get a check from the dentist in Louisiana. We'll be picking up the cabinet or delivering the cabinet to the crating company for the Jellyquarium going to the shop in Chicago, and at the same time we'll see what sea nettles look like. So until then, just keep moving forward, because going backwards isn't going to take you anywhere that you've already been.